Good afternoon, students. Are you listening my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. So, before going to today's concept about Government of India Act 1935, we'll see the things what we discussed in the last class, right? So, in the last class, we discussed certain constitutional development which taken place in between um 1919 to 1935. Okay, so in these years, we already discussed about certain developments like the Muddiman Committee, which is appointed in 1924, and to reviewing this mounting change squad reforms. Another committee, commission which appointed by Parliament, British Parliament, is nothing but Simon Commission in 1927. And again, the Simon Commission, which a controversial commission, which treated as a only the white man commission. Okay, so the Indian leaders treated it as a white man commission because uh, no Indian no Indian in the Simon Commission. Okay, so in the every part of India and every political party in India which objected this visit of Simon Commission in India. And in 1928, Simon Commission visited twice in the Indian territories, and everywhere the Simon Commission was opposed and uh, opposed, and every citizen of India which um, was opposed the recommendations of Simon Commission also. Okay, so finally Simon Commission was submitted its report, and to discuss about these Simon Commission's report, again three roundtable conferences were organized from 1930 to 32. Okay, so before this conduct of roundtable conferences, as the challenge which is given to the Indian leaders by then the Secretary of the State, who challenged the Indians to prepare their constitution, which is suitable to the every Indian. Okay, so taken as a challenge, and this constitution, certain people in the Indian National Congress want to make a constitution which is suitable for all Indians. So that in 1928 itself, or 1929 itself, many Indian leaders in Indian National Congress like Motilal Nehru as head of the committee, and many others like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose and Chekar, many others as a members, the committee which prepared a constitution, including certain provisions like the fundamental rights and many other federal system, and including a dominion status, like where the Australia and other countries which enjoying the status. Also, they they mention they want to they prepare that report, which better to be called as the Nehru report, and the Nehru report supported the strongly supported the dominant status to the India. Okay, so as a ally as a Commonwealth nation of British. Okay, so but many young members in the committee like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, who opposed the status of Dominion status, and they strongly supported that Purna Swaraj is their will. Okay, so they strongly supported the complete Swaraj, and even though the Nehru report was submitted before the Indian National Congress, and certain modifications also taken place. Even certain things which are which fit to the common people also included, and it was not considered by the British government. And again, they uh, the Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald at the time, who um, want to conduct the three roundtable conferences, and and within the roundtable conferences, they discussed certain things which not inserted in the 1919 Mounting Change for Reforms, and which are not suitable for Indians where they want to modify or change. Okay, so finally, after the three roundtable conferences, the British Parliament issued a white paper on various inclusions and exclusions, and various findings, various discussions or suggestions which suggested in the three roundtable conferences, and uh, by including those things, a white paper was released in 1933. Okay, so according to the white paper which is issued in 1933, this Government of India Act 1935 was declared. Okay, so the Government of India Act of 1935, which was one of the most important act, and we supposed to be called as a mini constitution of India, because the majority of the provisions from the Government of India Act, which included later in the Indian Constitution, which prepared by a drafting committee headed by uh, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, so I will start my discussion. I want to explain about this Government of India Act 1935, and before going to my explanation, I have to share my screen, and then I will explain it. Students, are you getting my screen? Screen
Yes,
comes.
sir.
Okay, right. Right. So, civil disobedience movement, non-cooperation movement, and Khilafat movement. Okay, so Swaraj Party, Nationalist Party, 1926, a demand for revision of Government of India Act 1919, and Alexander Muddiman Committee, and Simon Commission, and Nehru Report, Roundtable Conference 1, 2, 3, and Ramsay MacDonald Announcement Communal Award, and recognition of Dalits as a separate groups like Muslim, Sikh, Christian, separate electorates. Okay. So according to 1909 Mitto-Marley Reform Act, which provided a important provision for these Indian Muslims as a separate electorates, and the same which is given to some other communities in 1919, and in 1935 Act also provided certain provisions, separate special provisions for certain minority groups in India. Okay, so and the communal award, which is important, a pact, which is which is nothing but the Pune Pact and Gandhi Union Pact. Both are the important pacts in between this roundtable conference which taken place, and with these two pacts also certain provisions as implemented. Okay. So according to these acts, certain special provisions given to these minorities like the Dalits, basically. Okay. So and when you see, according to the Pune Act, there are certain seats which is got these Dalit minorities. Okay, so where certain electorates which given, but according to this Pune Pact, many provisions, which is according to the Pune Pact, Ambedkar demanded a separate electorates for Dalits, but Gandhi opposed, and according to the Gandhi's wish, certain major constituencies were given to the Dalits, where all will elect that contestant. Okay, so according to Mahatma Gandhi wish, Dalits got 148 seats. Okay, so and finally the white paper, which is government issued white paper in March 1935, and 2nd August 1935 received a royal assent as a government act of 1935. Okay, so I will give you certain things regarding this Indian Government Act of 1935. Okay, so the clear intention which behind the Government Act of 1935 was to set India upon the path of responsible government and promote the complete realization of our ambition, and it was the longest act ever passed by a parliament in the history of world. Okay, so the enactment of Government of India Act 1935, largely based on the recommendation of the Joint Parliamentary Selection Committee, which was appointed to examine the white paper on March 1935. Okay, so on the basis of these recommendations, um, Sir Samuel Hore, a conservative Secretary of State for India. At that time, Samuel Hore was the Secretary of State for India, and drafted a bill which was introduced in the House of Commons on 5th February 1935. Okay, so and this bill faced certain criticism at the hands of Labour Party, because the Labour Party is the opposition party at that time, and was finally passed by the House of Commons on 4th June 1935, and House of Lords passed the bill on in the July 1935. The royal assent was accorded on the 2nd August 1935. Okay, when you see certain provisions in the Act, okay, so first of all India Federation formed, all provinces were to join immediately, and sign an instrument of accession in favor of the crown. Okay, so and I will give you the Government of India Act was a lengthy document, consists of 321 sections and 31 schedules. Okay, so this enormous length of act was due to the fact that not only provided for highly a complex type officials, complex type of federal government, but also provided a detailed legal safeguards which restrict the activities of Indian minorities as well as the legislators. Okay, so the first provision is the provincial autonomy. The most remarkable feature of the act was the provincial autonomy with the abolition of diarchy, the distinction between the reserved and transfer subject as envisaged in the 19 Act was removed and the entire provincial administration was included. Okay. So, and the responsible ministers who were controlled and removed by the provincial legislatures at the time. Okay, so the provinces were no more the mere agents of the center, and ordinarily the central intervention was ruled out in provincial administration, and thus the provincial autonomy means the two things. First, the provincial administration, the provincial governments were wholly responsible to the provincial legislatures, and secondly, the provinces were free from the outside control and interference in a large number of matters. Okay, so and another is All India Federation. The 35 Act, 1935 Act envisages for the first time to establish All India Federation, and the federation was to consist of governors of provinces and six commissioners for the provinces and such other Indian states which would be willing to accede to it, and accession to the federation under 1935 Act was compulsory for governor at the provinces, but there are certain governors for the Indian states also. Okay. So, and All India Federation and a federal court was to be established. But there is another important provision is that the diarchy at the center will be continued. Okay. So, and the Indian states to send 135 members to the Federal Assembly and 104 to the Council of States, and provinces to send 250 members to the Federal Assembly and 150 members to the Council of the State. Okay. So, and when you see the members from the states to be nominated by rulers, provinces to elect members on the commercial lines, and here as a federal part of as a federal government, there should be a division of these powers. One is three lists which provided what is the federal list, provincial list, and concurrent list, and hierarchy at the center, and the Governor General given certain federal subjects to govern with assistance of three councillors. Other would be governed with the help of this council of ministers. And here, bicameral federal legislature, where you find, okay, I will give you bicameral legislation. First of all, I will give you the diarchy at the center. Okay. So through the Government Act of 1935, which diarchy abolished diarchy at the provinces, it introduced same at the center. Okay. So where the four subjects you find, one is the defense, ecclesial affairs, external affairs, and administration in certain areas were known as the reserved subjects, which were to be administered by the Governor General at his discretion power, and he was authorized to appoint or not. He was authorized to appoint three councillors to assist him in his administration. Okay. So, and these the councillors were wholly responsible to him, and the rest subjects were called as the transport subject to be administered by the Governor General at his discretion, and he was and uh, the transfer subject to be administered by the Governor General and Council of Ministers that was to be appointed by him. Okay. So, and among the members of appointed by him from among the members of federal legislature, and the ministers were responsible to the federal legislature, but the later suffered from many limitations. Okay. So, even though because the transfer subjects had certain was under the control of these ministers, a council of ministers, even though at certain limitations. Okay. So, and when you see certain as a bicameral federal legislature and federal in the bicameral federal legislature, you find the Federal Assembly, which is for the 5 years of its duration, and they can elect the representatives indirectly, and the Council of the States, which is a permanent body, which is one third of members to be retired every 3 years, elected directly. Okay, it's like a, a two-tier structure you find. Okay, so in the two-tier structure, the two houses you find. One is the Federal Assembly, and another one is the Council of the State. Okay, so and the Indian legislature could not make law on sovereign and the royal family and armed forces, but Governor General could call joint session of the federal legislature. Okay, so whenever they want to make any law or they want to modify any act or the law, the Governor General could call for a joint session of the this federal legislature. Okay, so and there is a federal court with, okay, I will give you later certain things, and which was certain safeguards we'll see in the, as a provision of the government of Act of 1935. Okay, so there was certain safeguards and reservation which is provided according to the Act, where the Act would serve as checks and limitations on such undesirable tendencies which might lead to the failure of responsible government in India. Okay, so a plea was given that those safeguards and reservations were necessary for the interests of the country, and they were imposed either on the exercise of the powers by the government of India on of the states. Okay, so to cite an example, in the central government, four reserved subjects were there, which were entrusted to the Governor General, and in responsible of councillors, and the farmer had the power to deal with these matters at the discretion. Okay, so the power of Governor General had certain discretion powers, right? So the Governor General and the governors were armed with the special responsibilities with regards to prevent of certain grave menace to the peace and security of India. Okay, so protection of legitimate interests of the minorities, safeguarding the right of the services, etc. In financial field, some safeguards were provided to protect the financial stability and credit of India. Okay, so the credits assailed these safeguards as means to perpetuate the British interest in India. Okay, so K.V. Punnaya, one of the uh, pioneer who rightly observed that a realistic analysis of the nature and content of these safeguards, however, reveals the fact that the British were trying to safeguard their vested interest by forming an alliance with the conservative forces in India. Okay, so the Muslims and Indian princes were against the rising tide of democratic nationalism, as the Indian princes were opposed to democracy and the Muslims to majority rule. British rulers found it easy and useful to exploit their fears of their own ends. Okay, so in short, these safeguards were intended to bolster up the British imperialism, which was tottering condition in the Indian soil. Okay, so another important provision according to this Indian Government of India Act 1935. The Government of India Act 1935 provided a provided for the establishment of federal court to interpret the act and educate the disputes relating to the federal matters. Okay, so it provided that the federal court should consist of one chief justice and not more than six judges. Okay, so in fact, the federal court, which established in 1937, had one chief justice and two associate judges, and the judges were to be appointed by the British Crown and were to hold office until they attained the age of 65. Okay, so whereas and uh, this the appeals could be made against the decision of the federal court on the judicial committee of the Privy Council situated in the England. Okay, so there is another council which is a judicial council, review council was there, which is at England. Okay, so however, this court continued functioning till the establishment of present Supreme Court in 1950. Okay, so another important provision is abolition of Indian Council. Okay, so you are observing about the federal court on the screen. Federal court with jurisdiction over states and certain provinces are to be created. One chief justice and not more than six judges, and original and appellate power, and for 10 years, and ex-judge high court, which is a qualifications for appoint as a judges at federal court. Okay, so Indian Council for which was Secretary of the State abolished, and the provision of electoral safeguards were provided, and the British government had the authority to amend the 1935 Act, which is in the hands of the British Parliament. Okay, so when you see the abolition of Indian Council, the Act made some drastic changes, where changes in the home government, and the Indian Council, which was established by the Act of 1858, had been a strong subject of criticism by the Indian nationalists, and the 1935 Act abolished the Indian Council and in its place created a body of advisors consisting of not less than three and not more than six persons who were to hold office for a period of 5 years. Okay, so they were to draw their salary from the British Exchequer, and the Secretary of the State for India was not bound either individually or collectively by their advice. Okay, so the Act says that it shall be in the discretion of the Secretary of the State either or not to consult them individually, and whether or not he acts in accordance with any advice given to him by them. Okay, so in the other words, um, the Secretary of the State still retained a substantial amount of powers. He was the sole constitutional advisor to the Crown, and the governors and Governor General were merely his creatures. Okay, so another provision of this government is that extension of franchise, retention of the communal electorates. Okay, so certain extension of branches, extension to the vote of right to certain section of the people, and retention of communal electorates. Okay, so communal electorates were somewhat continued. Okay, so the Act of 1930, Act of 1919 uh, had confined right to vote only two and a half the percent, 2.5% of the total population. But the Act of 1935 lowered the educational and other property qualifications as a educational and other and property qualifications, as a result of which franchise was extended to 35 million persons, persons, including 2 million women on the whole, and 27% of the adult population of India got the right to vote in 1937 general elections. Okay, so and a black feature of this act was retention of the communal electorates. Okay, so communal electorates, some of these are continued. Okay, so it retained the separate electorates for the representative of the communal and special interest in the federal as well as provincial legislatures. Rather, the principle of communal representation was extended to include Europeans, Anglo-Indians, and Indian Christians. Okay, so separate electorates only given to continue certain sections for the Europeans and Anglo-Indians and the Indian Christians. Okay, so the British government was and eager to grant separate electorates to Harijans, but Gandhi's fast unto death forced the British government to give up that nasty design. Okay, so and the Muslims were, which is given 33.5, 33.3% of the seats in both houses of federal legislature. This further weakened the unity and solidarity of our nation. Okay, so another provision is that certain special provisions to the Burma, Aden, Beran, Sindh, and Orissa. Okay, so Act of 1935 as separated Burma from India, and Burma became a separate and new country on the map of the world. And Aden was transferred and was placed directly under the colonial office from 1st April 1937. And Berar, which is turned into a part of governor so province called the Central Province Berar. And the Act of 1935 created two new provinces of Sindh and Orissa. And the Government of India Order 1935-36 says His Majesty was pleased by and with the advice of his Privy Council to make orders to constitute the province of Orissa. Okay, so Orissa became a separate province on the 1st April 1936. Okay, so another province provisions like the appraisal of the Act 1935. So the proposal for setting up of Federation of India did not materialize, and central government in India continued to be governed by the provision of the Act 1919. Okay, so however, the Federal Bank, the Reserve Bank of India, and the Federal Court were established in 1935 and 37, respectively. Okay, so the other parts of the Act, like particularly provincial autonomy, came into force on 1st April 1937. Okay, so and the authorization and responsible government called the Act of 1935 a short of Indian national aspirations, and British imperialism still determined to maintain its stronghold over India, looked for new safeguards in communal and reactionary elements. Okay, so this the act were so numerous as to elicit from this very important personal comments of personalities also. Okay, so and Jawaharlal Nehru, which remarked that provided a mission with strong broken out no engine. Okay, so Jinnah described a scheme as thoroughly rotten, fundamentally bad and totally unacceptable. Okay, the shock of another World War and another round of non-cooperation movement were necessary to bring about a real change of heart in the imperial ruler in the Britain. Okay, so even though this Act of 1935, which provided many important provisions which continued in the continued after after attainment of Indian independence. where the Indian independent constitution has prepared, and the major provisions were taken from the Act of 1935, like the provincial autonomy, and the Governor General was head of the Constitution of India, and the governor to be appointed by the king on the advice of the ministers, and the provincial governors were given more powers and became head of respective government. They did not have such autonomy. Okay, so no provincial legislature on the uniform pattern, and size of the provincial assembly varied from state to state. Legislative council were provided in 6 provinces, permanent body, which is having the tenure with 9 years, and one third of the total members were retired for every 3 years. And provincial legislature can make law for provincial and concrete list subjects. Okay, so and the provincial list, we add a 3 list you find here. The provincial list, which is the public order, administration of justice and courts in detention, prison, police. Okay, so reformatories, public debt, provincial public service, and acquisition of land, election to provincial legislature, speaker, deputy speaker, local self-government, public health, education, road, certain infrastructure facilities, and irrigation, canal, agricultural, forest, fisheries, and taxes. These are comes under the provincial list. And in the concurrent list, criminal law and procedure, registration and civil procedures, marriage, divorce, bankruptcy, and legal, other portions of press, factories, labor, welfare, criminal tribes, unemployment, insurance, old age pension, likewise. Okay, so uh, this is about uh, this is about 1935 Act, and I will give you some more provisions what we left today, and I will continue in the in next class. Okay, so Sri Vidya, are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is some of the provisions regarding the Government of India Act, and I will give you some more, some of the remaining things in the next class, and I will continue other constitutional developments. Okay,
Okay, sir.
okay. Thank you. I am ending my class now. Thank you very much.